Tell me the craziest story that happened at Gatwick.
Oh
WH
God,
Smiths.
man! Oh well, I was there when like a gun threat had happened.
Oh my
Blimey.
word.
Yeah, they had to shut down the airport, and I was.
Whoa. Have you hit that subscribe button? If not, what are you waiting for? Do it.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Total Sport video. And today we are joined by someone from the Football Daily team. It's been a while since we've had someone from the Football Daily team. I think the last one might have been Doogie.
So
that
what
was
an entrance!
a long time ago. So we have got Mr. ZAC DJELLAB with us. How are you, mate? Are you good?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. How are you, boys?
Yeah,
and
living the dream.
talking about the elephant in the room, mate. Hassan Karim is back home.
I am. I'm back in the old cold blighty, and I'm not enjoying it. Back in lockdown, back suffering under Boris Johnson.
But hey ho, mate. Well, it's good to have Hass back. He's just been gallivanting away with his wife, and now he's back home in cold, sunny Birmingham.
Right for some.
The place to be.
So we'll start off, Zach.
Yes.
Football. Where did the love begin, mate?
Oh, where did the love begin? Probably a mix between my dad and my uncles. My two uncles on my mum's side are Spurs fans. I'm pretty sure, probably not good to admit this, but I'm pretty sure that there are like pictures of me at like 9 months old and like a Spurs baby grow that they got me. But then my dad, he used to play football in France. He used to play football, not necessarily like top division. I think it was like in the second division or so, back in the 80s-ish. He was a good footballer. He didn't necessarily support a team, but he just loved the game, and that was it for me. Like I loved the game before it was about like watching a team. It was all about playing football for me. I love it to bits. And then, yeah, just kind of through that, like football's always on in the house, match of the day being played, you know, playing football with my uncles, playing football with my mates, playing football with my dad at school and that. And just like, especially in the UK, it's like, football is such a thing that everyone does. And so, yeah, just kind of fell into it that way. And then the whole way I ended up with Chelsea was just I played centre back and just loved John Terry. You know, at the time, loved him for everything he was as a footballer, and he was kind of my idol at that point, and that's kind of how I fell into love with Chelsea as well.
And the one thing I know we both share, because every time I post about him on Twitter, I know you always like the tweets. Big Zizou fan, of course, as well.
Yeah, well, that's it as well, because obviously my dad's Algerian, and obviously Zidane has a lot of links to Algeria. And so, like, whoever's like the superstar at the time for them, they're basically like a national icon. At the moment, it's Riyad Mahrez. Before him, it was Zinedine Zidane. Like, I remember going when I went to go visit family there, the whole streets would just be covered with Zidane pictures. And yeah, my dad would always like talk about him, and obviously I watched him as well during like the maybe more the latter stages of career, but he was still fantastic, an unbelievable footballer. And just I used to watch his like YouTube compilations of his best touches, his skills, and all this kind of stuff. And it was because he wasn't necessarily like the Ronaldinho of like fancy skills, but it was like he did the simple stuff so well. The touches, the quick turns, the way I still don't think there's a player that uses his body to the extent Zinedine Zidane did. Like everything about that man, I love him to bits, and I'd love to see him, you know, come to the Prem maybe one day as a manager.
Yeah, and he certainly has made his impact out in Madrid, both as a player and as a manager. But but moving forward, so when did you first sort of get the realization that you could potentially have a career in presenting, writing, anything to do with broadcasting in that respect?
For me, I've wanted to do YouTube since I was like 13, 12 maybe. There was I remember the first YouTuber that made me realize like, you could do this was a guy called Syndicate. He did gaming stuff, and when I realized like, you can make a career out of this, for me that was it. Like I'd always tell my parents like, yeah, you know, I'll go to uni, go to whatever, but like deep down I know that like the one thing I want to do is YouTube. And so that was kind of it. Like I posted videos when I was younger, you know, they're not on the platform anymore. And kind of just did it that way. And then when I was when I was deciding to go, because I did college, and then when I was deciding in my first year of college, second year of college, like, did I want to go to uni or did I want to go to an apprenticeship on that? I was kind of just like, you know what, I want to do YouTube. And I got lucky to an extent. Like, I was able to kind of find my way with FD. They took me in under their arm. I mean, we'll probably get to that side of it more so a bit later. But yeah, it was always YouTube. It's less so presenting and less so like being on TV and stuff like that. That's just something that I've kind of found since doing it. It was more just like, I've always wanted to make YouTube videos. I've always wanted to do it to a good audience, to an audience that enjoy what we make. And you know, even now, like, I've started my own channel and like I'm enjoying doing that stuff and the stuff that isn't necessarily to do with football. It was just always YouTube for me, man. Like, YouTube has always been it. Like, ever since, as I said, ever since I was 12, ever since I knew you could make a career from it, that was it for me. And during that time, it's just, that whole platform's just blown up as well.
Yeah, and one thing I was going to ask is, obviously, you got, with that kind of stuff, you've got the traditional routes of, you know, going to uni and stuff like that, and then getting a job in the field. So obviously, your route wasn't that sort of typical way into it.
Yeah. So for YouTube anyway, like, I think for TV, yeah, sure, going to uni and all that kind of stuff is probably the more the traditional way. But for YouTube, the normal way is you make your own channel at home, normally in your bedroom, whatever, and then it you know, eventually, hopefully, touch wood, whatever, fingers crossed, it grows bigger. And I didn't do it that way. What I did it in a very different way, where I don't know if YouTube still have it, but there used to be this thing where YouTube had a website dedicated to companies that worked in YouTube. So companies that had channels and stuff like this. And you could search these companies. And I came across a load of them and I sent them all emails. I remember I found the email address of like these, it'll be, say for instance, I don't know, say the company's called Caterpillar or whatever. It would be normally the way it works with companies, it's like info@caterpillar.com. And so I found the CEO of the company, let's for this instance say his name was, I don't know, Greg. And normally the way company emails work, it's like Greg dot his surname at caterpillar.com or Greg at Caterpillar, whatever. So I just basically tried a few of them and it ended up going to the CEO, and like I got lucky, man. I did get like, there is an element of luck towards it. Like, if someone tried it again now, would it work? I don't know. So I did get lucky to an extent, but I also think that doesn't mean I haven't like worked for it as well. But also, yeah. And so basically managed to bag a meeting with this guy. I think he thought I was a lot older than I was, because I'd literally gone from a college lesson, or no, it was like my last law lesson or my last law exam in college, to London to have this meeting, whatever. Came in, he liked me, gave me some like work experience, and then from there just kind of built into what it is now. It's yeah, like looking back on it, it's weird because I think it's about coming up to 5 years now. Jesus.
Yeah, time goes by quickly.
Indeed.
Yeah, definitely. So Football Daily, as you mentioned, obviously still doing stuff for them now, and it's a channel that is flourishing. So how did that all come about first off?
Yeah, so Football Daily was under this company, and I had an interest in football. At the time, it was Joe, Pat, Chris, George, and Adam. So it was just us. And yeah, they kind of took me under their wings, taught me how to edit, taught me how to write, taught me how to present to an extent. Like it was all very much just like, during those times, it's different to how it is now. Like we didn't have links with Sky and all that then. It was very much just like, I was another set of helping hands to kind of make videos with them. Like they liked me, they liked my attitudes, and kind of went from there. Because I was how old was it? I was 18. Yeah, 18, turning 19. And so yeah, from there they kind of just took me under their wings, and throughout the years have just helped me in every way possible. Basically, yeah. Without FD, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and you said you started off as a work experience guy there essentially. So what would you say your sort of your ways were sort of tempted them then to taking you on essentially full time?
I remember this actually pretty well. I also have to mention as well, both Daves, Dave Horner and Dave Jackson. Those two also very big help. I had a meeting with Dave Jackson. Not even a meeting. Me and Dave. I think what we were doing we were blacking out the windows. So the studio was letting in too much light, and so me and David like literally got, probably not a good idea this, but especially during the heat of summer, it was very bad. It got very hot in there, but we got this like gorilla black tape, and we're just like blacking out the windows. And in this, like, it took about an hour and a half or whatever. But like Dave was asking me like, oh, like what are you planning to do? Like, he was like, you planning to go to uni or whatever? And I was like, to be honest, like this is my ideal place. Like this is exactly what I want to do. This kind of stuff. And so yeah, he kind of, I think he kind of took that as no, and him and Dave Horner kind of eventually offered me a job on my birthday when I turned 19, which was pretty nice.
That's not a bad birthday present, huh?
It's not too bad, because I think I'd literally the week before quit my Saturday job at WH Smith, because I originally would I would be staying at my nan's, who lives nearer to London, who basically lives in London. I'd stay at my nan's Monday to Friday, go there. Friday, when I'm back at my nan's, drive my car back home to Crawley. Saturday, Sunday, work my shifts at Gatwick, WH Smith, and they were like rough shifts. It was like 2 a.m. start till 12 p.m. dealing with like angry people because their newspaper hasn't arrived at 3 a.m. in the morning. It hasn't even been printed yet. Ridiculous, mate. Some of the stuff there. Some of the stuff that happened in there was mental.
Tell us more about it. Tell me the craziest story that happened at Gatwick.
Oh
WH
God,
Smith.
man! Oh well, I was there when like a gun threat had happened.
Oh my word!
Yeah, they had to shut down the airport, and I was. So the way airports work is, so you're either airside, which is once you go through security, or it's called something else, but I can't remember. And you still go through security, but it's like employees. And yeah, I was airside. And the thing is, when they shut it, you can't go back, and no one can go in. So I was there. So I started working like 2 a.m. and I was there till about 6 p.m. Just like and we basically stopped working by like 11. And so for that time we were just sitting in a WH Smith store. But no, you know what? It was pretty easy work, man. It was pretty easy work. It didn't pay well. Did not pay well at all. I think it paid me like £4, if that, an hour. Something an hour. I remember my mates used to like work. One of my mates used to work at Tesco, and Tesco apparently on Sundays did triple time, and I used to get so jealous because for ages I just got rejected from so many jobs. So I was like, well, I'll take the first one I got, and so that was WH Smith. But nah, it was pretty easy because like I used to have to work at I used to do sometimes at the big ones, but normally, when you're just about to get on a flight, there are sometimes there's like little like kiosk shops. I used to work in that one, which was just by yourself, and so for like, and so it would be at times I'd have 2 hours of just no one, so I'd just be on my phone or something like that, just like listening to music like on my phone or whatever. So that was pretty cool. I remember once a guy was traveling somewhere where he couldn't change his money back to whatever his currency was, and so he just gave me £40 as a tip. And that's basically how much I would have earned that day. So I was like, wow, like, this is ridiculous.
That's not too shabby.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but basically that's what I used to do. Because then Sunday evening, I'd then drive back up to my nan's and go into to FD that way. But yeah, no, it was good fun. Good fun.
Yeah. So there's that little tangent. Not something we expected for today. But yeah. So FD. Talk to us about some of the characters at FD that you've met, like the lads that you work with. Who in particular sort of immediately took your eye and impressed you the most?
Oh wow. You know what, man? It's very much I think half of the reason FD has been so well is because we all are committed. It's very much like, I hate when people like you say this because it just sounds so weird. It's like, not weird, but it just sounds so cringy. But it is a bit like a family at times. Like, mate, I remember one Christmas where it was the guys that I mentioned earlier, and I think it was like December 2016, and we were like, oh, we want to have a week off for Christmas, like let everyone go home for a week, whatever. And so what we were doing essentially double everything we would normally do on the day, so we could prepare an extra video for the next week. And Oh my God, because it would be, it was like, we'd be in at 8 a.m. We'd probably all normally leave about 8 p.m. Just absolutely like work. All of us were ill as well. And so I remember we'd have like a computer that had like Team America on, or some like Christmassy kind of, I mean, Team America isn't really a Christmas film, but whatever, like Die Hard, all that kind of stuff. And we were just like, no one was talking, just like slogging it out. But it was, yeah, man, those times were like proper character building and like just making sure, but like brought us together, and that was it. Like, because like anyone, we all like clash at times when it's about certain ideas, you know, what we think and all that kind of stuff. But like without them, like without the guys, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. I think they would kind of say the same about everyone else. Everyone's been very much like the year, like I think it began properly in like 2016, 2015 for them. But from then it was all just like everyone's doing it for each other, you know, no one's kind of being too much, no one's being a dick, no one's being this, no one's being that. It's very much everyone's committed to the same cause and striving for the same thing. If you're struggling a little bit, like just saying, asking for a bit of help, you know, though that doesn't really happen often because, you know, everyone's up to a great standard. And then since then, we've obviously been able to expand it to what it is now, which I think is like, I don't know, over 10 people, which is quite mad.
The team's massive now.
Yeah.
From my experience of even being in our placement, I've seen myself, the team's massive now.
This is it. And even then, I think half of what we've also been so lucky about is everyone that has joined is also fit perfectly. Yeah. Like no one's joined and we've gone, oh, like they're awful. Everyone has fit in so well. And so, because that's the thing as well, like it's not, I think sometimes I think we even forget it, but like we make YouTube videos. Like it isn't isn't surgery. Like at the end of the day, even if it is a stinker of a video, we can go back tomorrow. We can come back tomorrow. We can have another go at it tomorrow. And everyone that has joined FD, and you know, even if they've left now or whatever, they've added so much to the group and have been fit in so well. You know, that everyone's always funny in their own ways. Like it's weird just how everyone seemed to have been perfect. Like you would have thought we would have got it wrong like once or whatever so far, but no, man, everyone just kind of digs their heels in and really commits to the cause. And it's been good, man. I mean, I live with three of them. I live with three of the boys, you know, Kieran, Sonny and Temps. So you know, it can't be too bad.
Well, what's it like in that kind of environment, living with your colleagues in that sense?
You know what, like I think some people, like, especially during lockdown, you would have thought it would have been really rough. But for us, I think, especially us four, like we're all really chill. Like I'd say maybe I'm the most confrontational one, and I don't really think I'm that confrontational. Maybe Temps, but even then, he's barely that. It's very much it's been all right. It's been absolutely fine because I think it is, once we're done, we're not talking, like we may talk about work, but we're not talking about it in a way that it's like it's stressful and it's like, it's just, we're always having a laugh, to be quite honest. We're always having a laugh. We're always having good fun in the house. And the other bit as well, like we also don't all work, like Kieran's now works with Will, didn't he? So he's not even with FD anymore. But even with Sonny and Temps, like they don't necessarily work on the side of FD that I work on. So we're not even like that together all the time. And I work in a different room. They all work in different rooms. So you're not all like on each other all the time anyway.
Yeah. So in terms of Chelsea, I mean, you supported them as a youngster, and it comes up, and you actually work a little bit for them as well. So how was that? How was that when you first obviously realised that, and you know, you are technically, I mean, working for Chelsea?
Yeah, no, it's a little bit mad. I think it's something, I said it before, I think it's something that when I'm older and say I'm not necessarily doing it anymore, you may hopefully not for a long time, touch wood, but I think I'll then realise actually quite how mad it is, because essentially the closest I can get to being a Chelsea footballer without being a footballer, really, unless I was the manager or something. Who knows? But yeah, no, it was a weird one because a mate of mine basically had seen one of his friends works in a casting agency, and a casting agency had said that they were looking for a Chelsea fans, and originally I didn't think it was to do with Chelsea. I thought it was to do with some other kind of production, who knows. And I actually thought it was going to be another YouTube channel. And they said, they said to send in a video of yourself, why you support Chelsea, what you love about Chelsea, who's your favorite player, etc., etc. I did that, and I got an email back saying, come do an audition. And I've never done an audition in my life. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I turned up to this audition, and it was very odd. It was because there are people there who'd come from I think theatre school and all this kind of stuff. On the sheet where you had to write your name in that, it was agent's number, just to cross that out blank. All this kind of stuff. It was quite odd. And then I remember talking to some of these people, and they were like, yeah, my agent's has put me through to this gig. I've also got a gig next week about this. And I remember seeing, I was like, are you actually a Chelsea fan? And some of them were like, no, not really. And I was like, wow. But yeah, no, so I did these auditions, and in the end it came back and they were like, you, we really like you. I think I had to do another audition after that with some people, and they were like, we want to test you on one of the pilots. And at this point I started to realize, I think it's actually for Chelsea Football Club. And so I did these pilots, and kind of from there, since I started essentially working with Chelsea, and it's kind of grown from doing Out of the Blue to now the show I do with Savage Dan, called Chelsea Unscripted, to even other things. I think they just released the Nerf thing. I did. Nerf contacted me and were like, or Chelsea put me forward to Nerf to host the Nerf Chelsea blaster thing, and that had gone, and I did that, which was really cool. And even recently I've had some more stuff, and so now I'm doing another thing called Matchday Live, and so I'm very much just Chelsea at the moment. But yeah, no, it's sick. The players are lovely. They're really cool, man. When I get to talk to them, get to talk to them on a level as well that isn't just football.
Yeah.
I was talking to Mason about Call of Duty a couple of weeks ago. He's very good. He's very, very good at Call of Duty. Same with Tammy. They're all lovely fellas, man. And it's been, as I said, I think it's something that in a few years, and you know what, even during when lockdown starts, hopefully, or the whole pandemic is eventually over, then I think we'll be doing even more stuff with the players and that. But yeah, no, it's good fun, and something that I think I probably don't realize quite the level to what I'm doing yet, but it's hopefully one day I think I will be like, oh my God, I've actually just worked for my football club.
Well, being obviously in fan content creation in that sense, it's a hostile nature as well. There's comments and stuff on the internet and trolling and whatnot.
There is indeed.
I can. You've seen it from rival clubs like Arsenal Fan TV and the amount of hostility there is there as well in terms of how vicious people can be with social media. And you probably felt it initially when you first started out at FD in the comment section. They're not nice to new people in the comment section, generally speaking.
Yeah, no one likes change.
No one likes change. So when you first started, encountering that kind of stuff, how did you first react to it, and what was your feeling about it? Did it bounce straight off you? Did it affect you in any way?
I think I'd be lying if I said it didn't. At the beginning, I mean, I was literally only 18. My whole life was I can't wait to do YouTube, and then these comments being like, who is this guy, he's rubbish, all this kind of stuff, and I was like, oh well, I'm never doing YouTube again. But I think first few months I reckon it was a bit annoying. It wasn't great, but after that, people got used to you. I think what it was as well is you have to just be yourself. That's something that I think took me a couple of weeks or maybe a month or so to realize that just be yourself. And if they don't like you, you can't please everyone, even though you'd love to. Just be yourself, and at least then if they don't like you, then whatever. Why do you care? At least you're not being true to yourself, at least. And so they were annoying, and they still happen to everyone nowadays. No one's gonna be loved by 100% of the people. It just doesn't work like that. Everyone will find some sort of gripe with you, whether it's your hair, the way you speak, the fact that they think you don't have enough knowledge about whatever. Sometimes I think people, I just wish I sat there and was like, it's not that deep, guys. It's really not that deep. Calm down. But to an extent, I sometimes understand as well. Like, you know, they're committed to watching a video. But I mean, if you're going to get annoyed by the way someone looks, whatever, like, grow up. It's really like, what? Come on. So yeah, it's frustrating. And I think if anyone's getting it now, I would just keep saying, like, keep persevering, ignore them. Because that's the thing as well. Like, there's a difference between a hateful comment and a good bit of criticism. Like, I can take criticism if someone says, "Oh, I think you should do this," whatever. Like, I can take that on board. But I remember, like, I did one of the Sky shows, and it was just like, "What's this ZAC guy even doing here?" Because I was like, because obviously my reputation was from YouTube, and I was like, just asking questions, mate. That's what I'm meant to do. He's like, "What's he doing here?" And I was like, well, "I'm just asking questions. That's literally all I'm meant to do." And yeah, that kind of stuff's a bit rough at times, but you know what, like, it really is just, I especially now can't be bothered to let that affect my day, my, you know, mentally, anything about it, because there is also a lot of positive comments, and that's the thing, right? Like, there could be 10 positive comments and one negative comment, but you'll only focus on the one negative. Especially, I find it quite hard sometimes to take positive comments as well. So yeah, but I don't know. I was also, especially then, like, I was 18, man. I was young, like, I was learning, like 18, 19, I was learning as I went, essentially. Even now, like, I think 23. Yeah, I thought I was 24. And I was like, yeah, I turned 20. I turned 23 like a month ago or something like that. And so just kind of taking it as I go, and just kind of how I'm going about life, to be honest, taking it how it comes.
Yeah,
I didn't realize you're actually younger than me. That's something I didn't know.
yeah, not that we can tell, Haas, mate.
Not that we can tell.
No, at all.
Yeah, we mentioned, you mentioned comments. Actually, Haas has been experiencing some tough times being compared to Bruno Fernandes in his in the way he looks.
I keep getting called Bruno Fernandes in the comment section. It's becoming a recurring thing.
That's not too bad. I don't think Bruno's that bad.
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
I didn't like it. I think I had Oliver Burke at one point. Who
I see it a little bit. I see it a little bit.
I mean, he's got like wavy hair. I've had SX a lot lot recently.
Yeah, I was gonna say SX is the one you always seem to get.
Had Big Zoo for a little while. Nice guy.
Could be worse.
Can't think of any. It could be worse. It could be worse indeed, mate. It could be worse.
I compared to Andre Silva. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. Actually.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I was like, that's a good looking bloke. But so in terms of comments, has there been any comments in particular that you taken out and just think, in particular, that's like my favorite comment I've ever seen from a Football Daily video, or even on one of your videos?
Oh, it's a bad comment, but it's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Someone once was like, if I ever see ZAC DJELLAB in the streets, I'm going to knock him out.
Oh, I love that.
And I was like, oh, sick. Like, please have a go. It was one that made me quite laugh. It made me quite laugh a lot at the time. I think it was one of the first ones. And ever since, I've always been like, maybe one day I'm just going to be walking down the street and someone's going to like absolutely whack me. But off the top of my head, like, I mean, the thing is, on my own channel recently, I've had a lot of positive comments of people being like, I really like the stuff and I really, really appreciate them. I try to reply to them as much as I can. But yeah, it's weird. Like, for some reason, it'll always be the negative ones that stick in your head. Unfortunately, I think that's just how it works. But yeah, that one is that one's always been in my mind.
and following on from something you said earlier, you mentioned Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham on Call of Duty. Would you say those two are the best ones in the squad in terms of gaming, or is there anyone else that you've
in terms of gaming
in the entirety? Who's the best?
Oh, I know Christian's good at Fortnite. I've never played Fortnite, so I don't really know the level to that. But I know Christian Pulisic's going to be very, very, very good at Fortnite. I know Aspie loves FIFA. Aspie really loves FIFA. Yeah, Tammy and Mason play COD. I think, yeah, Mason, I don't know if he wants me to, I won't say what he told me, but he's meant to be very, very good. I'm trying to think who else that I know. Reese James, I think he's meant to be half decent at a few video games. But off the top of my head, they're the ones that I feel something like Billy might be half decent, Billy Gilmore.
Yeah.
The young ones always, the young ones you expect to be half decent at them. It was, it was weird, just like talking to, you know, these boys that are playing for the England team now as well.
Yeah.
And just like, do you remember, like, we were just literally, we had about a good half an hour chat just talking about like the old CODs and like reminiscing about the first Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2, like all this kind of stuff. But no, man, they're good guys, man. They're very good guys.
What's it like going to that kind of that level with them, though? I mean, obviously you watched them, you know, playing for how many years beforehand of, you know, actually joined the Chelsea YouTube side of things. So what's it like now, essentially, you know, for lack of a better phrase, being on first name basis with them and stuff like that?
I don't know about that, but no, it's cool. No, it is cool because I think you get a much better appreciation for them. It definitely, like, one of the things since like meeting footballers and interviewing them and getting to know them and that is realizing like they're just normal guys, like literally like everyone else, that they've just built a career in football and obviously have had a lot of success with it. It's a little bit maybe I don't know. I don't really get like people always ask like, have you ever been, you know, absolutely shocked? Not shocked. What's the word?
Starstruck?
Starstruck. Yeah. Have you ever been starstruck when you meet someone? And weirdly, I just don't get it. I don't get starstruck. But yeah, no, when you talk, I just find it funny when you're talking to them about like, just normal things. I remember hearing a conversation between Tammy and Christian just about like Krispy Kremes, about bringing some in one day and stuff like this. And it's just like just a normal bunch of lads, really. Like, especially because they are literally my age, and so like that's why like when you're talking to them, just connecting over like the same things and about just having a laugh with them, and especially nowadays, I think football now, especially the young ones, has moved to a different level where it isn't about, say, back in the day when it was just about football, like talking to Giggs, talking to, you know, to Terry and Lampard about how important, you know, this game is and stuff like that. Whereas now it's much more fun. It's much more like Chunks. Sorry, just nearly whacked my mic off. Chunks and Philly, right? Have smashed it with the way like they've got their just doing more normal things. People want to see footballers do more normal things. Like I think the Tammy Abraham video where they it's like guess the song, like that's a banger and that's so good and so much fun, and just like you see the personality of them and how they are just like normal lads who are just playing football, really.
Yeah, and that's probably it's one of the way that I think football content creation is going in that respect. So to sort of get to know especially during COVID. And on that note, sort of how did you find it when it first came along, the pandemic, in terms of the content creation for FD and for Chelsea?
I think at the beginning it was tough. First few months it was like, what do we do? Like, how are we gonna get this? You know, because we were so used to always filming with each other in a studio. You know, if anything, we've become more YouTubey than ever before, filming from our bedrooms, like doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was definitely probably difficult at the start. Same with Chelsea, just like figuring it all out was probably a bit tough. For me personally, like, I reckon I've spent half of it just playing Warzone, to be quite honest. Like I spent so much time just playing that game. But yeah, I think now we've got it to a degree where we're kind of happy with where we're at. And I mean, we're always looking to try and improve. You know, the second lockdown wasn't amazing because we just started filming back outside again. But you know, touch with all the news that's happening at the moment, it's you know, it's only going to be positive. So yeah, I think it was rough. But I think everyone had it. Like everyone was trying to figure out what to do because no one had foreseen a circumstance like this ever happening. And so yeah, I think we're kind of happy where we are at the moment. And it's worked out. It's worked out well. Like we've got to where we at least want to be now.
And you know, going forward, how do you think it's going to be like adapting to going back in the studio and stuff like that again? Do you think like there's going to be a kind of like not a shock to the system per se, but a bit like growing pains of being back in that environment?
No, I think we'll be all right. Like we took to, when we did a few episodes back in the Sunday Vibes pub, like we took to it like normal. Thing is, YouTube's changing as well. YouTube is constantly changing. The same platform 6 months ago isn't the same as now. What people watch isn't the same. People are looking for different things. The way things are being filmed aren't the same. So everything's changing constantly. It's just about adapting to it, which I think we've been pretty good to over the past few years. And yeah, it's weird. Like I've only been doing it for, as I said, nearly 5 years, and isn't that, you know, it's a decent amount of time, but not necessarily a long time. But in that time, so much has changed considering when we first began. Like when we first began, it was so easy to do YouTube, to be honest, when you had an audience like we did. And then, you know, the whole adpocalypse happened and all this kind of stuff, and it changed. It changed YouTube, kind of the face of YouTube forever. And it's constantly changing. It's constantly changing. The algorithm's constantly changing. It's about trying to be on top of that, and it can be rough because one week it can be annoying with the views, and then a week later, you know, you're back and doing better than ever before. So it's just about kind of dealing with that, and I think to an extent mentally that's a bit rough at times. But it's part of the game of YouTube, and you know, you're not the only ones dealing with it. Every one of the platforms dealing with it, whether they're football creators, whether they're commentary creators, gaming, like you name it, everyone's dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, and on that note, kind of what would be your advice to a new upcoming YouTubers? What would be the main thing you would suggest?
Just do it. Honestly, I think so many people, even myself to an extent, like so many people just think, I'll wait for this right time to do it. I'll wait for them to do it, you know, waiting for the perfect opportunity. And in that time, you know, it could be a year, you know, and you'll only ever learn about the platform and grow by doing it. And whether, you know, you look back in a year's time and go, oh my God, my videos were so bad. It doesn't matter. You'll grow, and that's the whole point. And just like, as you know, the Nike saying, just do it. And don't be afraid to, you know, try different things, have a laugh with certain things. I think so many, especially nowadays, I think so many people do YouTube because of the money, which isn't necessarily, I don't say it's a bad thing, but like you've got to, I think the main thing as to why you want to do it is for the fun, the passion in doing it. And then, you know, being paid from it isn't a bad result of doing it, but because I think people can tell whether you actually are doing it for your own passion or not, and that's only going to result in success, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah, and how do you see the platform going forwards over the next, you know,
mate,
immediate future?
If I could tell you that, I'd be a millionaire. It's constantly changing, right? And like YouTube's, you know, competing with other platforms, from TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and then even mainstream ones like TV. And I mean, I'll probably say it's probably overtaken radio, to be quite honest. And so, yeah, I think the next few years are going to be very interesting. Once everything, you know, again, fingers crossed, goes back to a bit more normality. I reckon you'll see a lot more kind of like crossovers between YouTube and TV and like mainstream media. You're already seeing it, right? KSI is already like
everywhere.
Everywhere. He's on the Jonathan Ross show last week. And so I think you're going to start seeing that a lot more. Like even Sky, like one of the things Joe does, Saturday Social, that is essentially like a digital thing on TV, which is sick. And I think you'll start to see that kind of stuff happen a lot more over time. And creators get a lot more of the opportunities. Chunks and Philly playing in Soccer Aid, Maya Jama being one of the hosts, or Maya Jama, I should say, sorry. Like that is something which I think we'll see a lot more over the next few years. And because of that, we'll also see YouTube grow a lot more. And we've also seen a lot more of the mainstream like celebrities come onto YouTube. Katie Price has her own YouTube channel. Jack Whitehall has her own YouTube channel. Like, I don't know why Katie Price first came to mind, but it did.
Mate, that says something about you, I think.
He's secretly subscribed.
Fair play. I mean, I know the person who does that. They make banging videos. It does well view-wise. Fair play to them. So yeah, I think you'll see a lot more of that kind of stuff happen. And I always feel like the UK scene is like 6 months behind the American scene, or maybe a year or so. And the American scene is ridiculous. Like David Dobrik alone is a mental YouTube channel. Like he's the king essentially, and he's now like one of the biggest celebrities in the US. Like he has his own TV, like he does his own TV stuff, like presenting in that. And so yeah, it's a weird one. I think if I could answer it flat out, like, yeah, as I said, everyone would come to me if I knew that kind of thing. Because I think at times YouTube don't necessarily know either. And it is something that just takes time and depending on what advertisers want as well, because obviously people have to get paid. It's just something that just happens gradually.
Yeah. So before I know Haas may have a couple more questions, but before I have to squeeze this question in somewhere. So I want to see how much you know about yourself, Mr. ZAC DJELLAB. So
Oh God.
So I made a little trip onto famousbirthdays.com today. And I want to know. I want to know.
Somehow I've got one of them.
I want to know where you think you rank in terms of Zacks on famous birthdays. So it's spelled ZAC.
Yeah.
Where do you think you rank? And I'll give you a clue. It's in the top 100 somewhere.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Jesus. Okay. Well, Zac Efron's probably number one. He's got to be. I'd say, I don't know. He said top 100, 52nd, maybe 72, something like that.
Try halving that, mate. You're 23rd on the list.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I mean, that also screams there's not a lot of Zacks. Fair, but I'll take that. Screw it. I'll take that. Yeah, no, that's, you know what? By the end of 2021, I want to be top 10. That's the aim.
Calling it out. Well, I'll tell you what, most of the people on there, I don't really know. They're mostly Instagram influencers on there. So I don't know whether that says more about your name or not.
Yeah, possibly.
Anything more from you, Haas?
I was just going to say, so how much time do you actually still spend? I mean, you work on YouTube. How much time do you spend just casually yourself on the platform?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I probably don't watch it as much as, say, like I did before I worked in it, because I literally watched it every day. But still, like now, like just before this, I was watching a Jason Nash video. I watched a lot of my mate's stuff as well. Like over lockdown, I've got to know the boys really well. So I watched a lot of Will and E stuff, Alex's stuff, the E-boy stuff, George's stuff, all James's, all of these kind of guys. The Sidemen stuff, like they're ridiculous. All of the kind of UK boys quite often. I reckon I watch it every day. I definitely watch YouTube every day. I'd say for at least a couple of hours. I watch YouTube probably more than I watch TV. That's for certain. And like Netflix.
And who's your go-to like subscribers sort of thing? So who are your go-to channels? Your top. Let's go top 6. Who are your top 6 channels that you go to?
If he's posting, but he hasn't posted for like months, David Dobrik, I love his channel. His channel is like everything I could ever want. If I can make my perfect channel, I'd do that. But I wouldn't now because he does it. So what's the point? What else? I really like Will's channel. I do really like Will's channel. Will's I think he comes up with some great ideas and executes them as well. Like executes them brilliantly. I also know half of his team. Like I live with one of his boys, and I'm good mates with one of his other editors as well and himself. So yeah, no, I really like them. I really like the E-boys stuff because again, it's very similar to Will's. Who, you know what? Let me quickly jump onto YouTube.
Let's go.
Look on who's on my homepage. You know what? I've been watching a lot of COD again. Like I'm 16. I've been watching a lot of like swag. I was watching. That was weird. Yeah, I was never talking to Mason about him because he's a mad. He's very good on Call of Duty. I've been obsessed with the zombie stuff recently because it's one of my favorite game modes. So I've been watching some stuff on that on YouTube. Got to put him up there. Kieran Carlin.
Of course.
Friend of the channel as well, Kieran. What a guy.
If I don't mention him, he might beat me up, to be quite honest.
I can't imagine that.
Who knows? A video coming soon.
Maybe he said he'd knock you out in the street. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe. It all makes sense. It's just one big plan. It's one big plan. The Sidemen stuff. I'm a big fan of the Foot Asylum stuff. They've done really well in being able to become a brand that makes good content on YouTube. That isn't easy.
Yeah, it's like the speed dating stuff and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They're doing something
KSI.
Yeah, they're doing something at the moment. Does the shoe fits really good. Again, know some of the boys on there, like Harry's lovely. Same with Trunks of Philly. They've also got another thing as well, a bit like Big Brother. That is. It's different, but it works. It works really well, and it's smashing it for them. So yeah. I'm very much into the UK scene with a dash and sprinkle of some American YouTubers as well. It's pretty good. Not too bad.
No space for any of the Logans and Jake Pauls out there.
You know what? Logan actually makes good content
Logan's
now.
alright.
Yeah.
Logan, we could take. We both, me and
He's,
Chris, are in the closet fans of Logan Paul. It's
No,
not-
like Logan. Hey, I can happily put my hands up and say I haven't watched any of his stuff in a while, but there was a period I was watching quite a lot.
Yeah.
And he does make really, really good content now.
Would you say he's definitely redeemed himself in that sense and kind of fixed the image that he did have, which was
He's fixed his image, yeah. I think he's learned. That's the thing. He's learned from what's happened. People make mistakes. He made a massive mistake and has done very well. And I think he actually owes a lot to KSI for
which is mad, isn't it?
for
That's
that.
absolutely mad to think a boxing fight essentially saved his image.
Yeah, man. It's I'm very interested to see what the next thing is. I say bring back YouTube football. That's what I want.
Oh, great. Yeah, definitely, mate. Maybe you can get yourself involved in that one.
Oh, who knows? Maybe one day.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Zach,
you, mate.
to the channel. And he didn't mention TotalSport, his favorite YouTubers either. That's not good enough.
TotalSport as well. TotalSport.
Yeah, there we go. I expect to see that subscription come up. But yeah, so drop your socials. Zach. Where can everyone find you? I'm sure you don't need it, but
Just my name. Don't wear it out. God, that was awful. Yeah, just ZAC DJELLAB, man. That's it. That's it. My friend.
is that they're on all different platforms? So
Luckily, yeah, I think I'm the only ZAC DJELLAB in the world. To be fair, if there is another one, let me know. So.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else from you, Huss?
No, that's all from me. That's all from me. Glad to be back. Glad to be back out here creating stuff again. So that's all good.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Make sure you do drop that subscription button. We're nearly at 1,100, which is cool.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.